This is Isaiah Whitlock Jr., and you're watching the whole podcast.
Welcome to the whole. I am Rob Sprans.
I'm Franco Del Valle.
And I'm Lori Levine.
We are joined by YelloPain. What's up, y'all? How are you?
Yo, what's going on? I'm feeling good. I'm feeling phenomenal. How about y'all?
I'm doing good. I'm not as phenomenal as you because you are blowing up at a level that I have not seen in a long time, and rightfully so. So,
thank you.
Anybody can make a viral video from time to time, okay? But to do it in a way where it's actually your art and it's a great hip hop track, and to build your career and make your actual music video blow up and go viral is 10 times as hard. You know, everybody watches a dog fall in a pool. Okay, that's great, but that's not a creation. So for those of you who don't know, My Vote Don't Count was the first video that really blew up. I think you're at like 2 million views or something like that now, something crazy. Which is a great video and a great track. But the thing that I like and respect the most about it is it's what hip hop originally was, to educate, to get a message across. You know, it's not about just, dissing or, sex. It's like you're getting to the point and you're trying to get a message out. And that goes for all of your tracks. But I really, really loved it, and I was kind of curious on what made you want to do that and what made it come about.
Yeah, so my cousin Desiree Tim, she was running for Congress in Ohio at the time, and she actually came to me with the idea like, "Cuz, I want you to make a song about voting." I dismissed it. To be honest, I was not. I had no political background. Every family member I know always said, "Voting don't matter. That's not important." I was, I voted for Obama back in 2012 when I was first able to vote, and I felt like nothing had changed for the country. So I was over politics completely, and I thought that the whole idea of politics was you have a president and whatever, the world is in his hands. And that was what I thought. And then once I found out, my cousin broke it down to me the same way that I broke it down to everybody else in the video with the chart. And it showed me that it's different branches of government. And we learned that briefly in school. We learned it, that it's, the judicial, legislative, executive, but we didn't really grasp onto it. And then once she let me know the individual roles of each one of those branches of government, it really broke it down to a level like, oh, wait, so you mean to tell me that there's people in my community that have the power to change my community? I might walk past them in a grocery store and they got my life in their hands. These are people that we can vote for, that we don't vote for because we feel powerless. Once she made that clear to me, I felt upset as an adult male in America, in my community, who claims to be passionate about change or passionate about the community, and I don't know this stuff. I was like, oh, nah, I got to make sure everybody else know the same thing that I just woke up to.
Mm-hmm. And it's such a great point because, you don't realize how much the smaller elections, like notoriously, Republicans always come out for those small elections, and most of the time Democrats, and they don't go vote for those. They go vote for president, and then they take time off, and then they vote for president again. So, it's such a good message. I'm going to play a little clip from it, and I have a couple of clips of some of your tracks, and clips do not do them justice. Like, you need to really check out the whole entire catalog, but just to give you a sample of what we're talking about here.
First thing first, back in middle school when they taught us it was 3 branches of the government. We forgot it when we got older. It's the judicial, the legislative, and executive. But all we know is the executive. That's the mayor or the governor and the president. Now none of them 3 people make no laws. They just be checking them. The laws come to their desk and all they do is say no or yes to it. So when the news station tried to tell us that Barack Obama couldn't put us on, we was all salty at Obama when it was the Congress members all along.
Yeah, see, that's like I learned something from that. Like I knew it, but it makes sense to remind people of it.
Yeah, my mind was blown when I found out that information myself. So I can imagine other people having that same moment.
Yeah. So and you're only 20 years old, which
He voted in 2012.
Yeah.
So how old are you now?
26.
26. So you talk like no, I'm not 20. I'm 26.
No, I wish I was 20 though. I think we all wish we could just pull some years back.
I was gonna say, like, you don't want to admit to voter fraud like on the air.
probably a good thing. So I kind of get interested in what the process is, especially with music in this day and age. Like I say it all the time. It's very similar to podcasting and what we do. Mm-hmm. I always say it, but the best thing about podcasting is that anybody can do it. But the worst thing about it is that anybody can do it. And it's, it goes the same with music, right? So what all of a sudden now, there's so many more people vying for your attention and making music in their basement, and which is all well and good. So it the fact that you have a brand about it is doubly impressive. So like, what's your process as far, from concept to getting something down?
Yeah. So with me, music, for as long as I can remember, has become an emotional outlet. And that's how I express myself. That's how I clear my conscience from things that I feel like I didn't do right. Or that's the way that I cry. That's the way that I complain. I do it through music, and I don't speak a lot. I'm not a very vocal person in the real world. So music is my emotional outlet. So my process is just really just getting into the emotion of it every time. And I think that that's been like my strong point. That's what a lot of people like about me, that I talk about things that a lot of people won't necessarily put in a song because it may not be a traditional song topic, but what it is something that I'm emotionally going through and that I'm drawn to and that I feel the urgency to release, not necessarily to the public, but just to the paper.
Yeah, in your track "Make Believe," there's a line in there that caught me right away, which you said that people told you you're not going to be anything unless you make something people can dance to.
Yeah.
Which just sounds so music industry.
Nah, that's real. I don't have family. You know what I'm saying? A lot of family members come to me like, why don't you do such and such? You heard da-da-da. He blew up off the one song with the snap and the da-da-da. Why don't you do that? So, a lot of that pressure. And I think because I put so much energy into it for so many years, I think people were starting to get discouraged by even just watching me do music. Like, he's still in the studio. Man, like, let me give him some cliche advice. Hey, why don't you try to do this? But I'm glad that I stuck to who I was, and I'm it's just one of those stories of just stick to who you are and believe in yourself, and anything is possible.
Yeah, it's such a good point. It's funny that I see still in the studio, like, because there's so many people like that. Yeah, I'm working on something. Don't worry, you'll hear it sooner or later. So the other thing that strikes me about your work, the visual element in the video, and I don't just mean you. Obviously, the yellow hair, the yellow look, it works, but the quality of the videos, the imagery and everything is such a strong part of your work. It's not just the music, which it plays a huge part, but you've taken it to another level with the video element.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I shoot out my videos myself. I shoot and edit them myself. Really? Yeah, I've been doing that since I was probably maybe 15. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you cast everyone as well?
Yeah, that's why if you watch a lot of my music videos,
same people.
Yeah, same people. Yeah.
So you set up the all the equipment, you bring everything out, you like storyboard, or you go through that whole process? Yeah,
I write it all out from beginning to end. I cast it. I set up the lights. More recently now, that just that I'm more of a full-time artist and things have taken off. I've been hiring other videographers, but it's still usually my visions, and I edit it.
Wow, see, that's great. See, Lori, it's the same as me. I'm a control freak. It's the same thing.
It's hard to take your baby and give your baby to somebody for the weekend. Like, I don't know how.
You wind up, it happens You wind up giving more notes that by the time you're done, let me just do it myself.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I hear that, but it's great. The quality really is really good. So how's things changed for you since the video went viral and it blew up? Like,
and who's the first person that hit you up? Is it Ari Melber from MSNBC? Like, who contacted you first?
The first celebrity that I think I saw was Chelsea Clinton. Chelsea Clinton was the first, it was on Twitter, I believe. And I think that has started like a mini ripple effect through Twitter. And then I think Meek Mill had retweeted it, which is my favorite rapper. So that was like a dream come true when I saw that. Meek Mill had retweeted it. And then Stacy Abrams, she had retweeted it. I actually met Stacy Abrams out in Atlanta. And then from there, it went to Instagram and the Shade Room posted it. And then it was just history from there. Oprah, Steve Harvey, Jada Smith. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, and let's talk about Stacey Abrams for a minute, because not only Stacey, but the entire Black community saved our asses this election. Let's face it, they did, and everything from your video to look, we had podcasts, trying to get the same message out in a different way. But everyone from Stacey to your video to, I think that's why so many of these celebrities took notice of you and retweeted it, because they knew how important this really was. I mean, this was without a doubt, we could have been going down a very dark path today if not for
Detroit and Atlanta.
Yeah, and Philly and Philly. Yeah. They saved our asses, and it's something that, especially, given that it's, Black History Month and Black Lives Matter has taken such a forefront message. It's even more important now that it doesn't stop here, because, if anything, we can't just relax. No one can just relax, because nothing has really changed yet. Those people, the 70-something million that went out there and voted against, they didn't just vote against Joe Biden. They voted against equality. They voted against a lot of things. There are a lot of, and I'm not saying all of them, but you and I both know who I'm talking about, and it's just the beginning. So there's a lot more to be said and a lot more message to get out there.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. And that's why in the song I said, I was talking about the Congress. I said their election every 2 years, but we don't never even go to those. The Congress, they could raise minimum wage, but we don't even really know it though. So I think that's it really goes to show it never stops. It's a forever thing. And now that people are more educated, hopefully as more elections come along, that we show up the same way that we did this year.
Mm-hmm. And I volunteer at Rikers Island to register inmates to vote. And when you meet them, a lot of them, they don't think it's going to matter at all who's president. And then when you tell them, no, you're voting for the people that are electing the judges, and you like bail reform and, all these different obstacles that they're going through there. And, it gets them to vote. They just don't even know about this. I feel like your song would do so well in these, in different prisons and jails.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's really the trick when it comes to getting people who are disinterested in voting to be interested in it. Which is what my song did, but also how I got interested in it. Like my cousin, she was asking me well, since you don't think your vote matters, since you think it's so unimportant, what's some things you would like to see change? And I started to list things. I was like, well, I mean, for starters, we got, because I'm from Dayton, Ohio, it's potholes all up and down the street, real bad potholes. I was like, we can't even get the potholes fixed. Who gonna fix that? She was like, well, they could pass the infrastructure bill or a transportation bill that can get that process expedited. She's like, that's through the Congress. She was like, you got to vote for the Congress members. And it was just like, oh, snap. I was like, seriously? So that can get sped up? She was like, yeah, by next year, it can be fixed. We don't know. And I think what it is you have to tell people things that matter to them, because especially being Black in America, not even just Black, you know, America is so many people who are going through financial struggles that they can't even think about anything that sounds liberating. They're thinking about, how am I about to eat next week? How am I about to eat next month? You know, they want something to change immediately. And we think president, but there are actually people who can make immediate changes in our lives, and we have to relate it to them so that they can care enough.
How? Go ahead, Franco.
I was gonna say, I think the first time that I started taking like local politicians seriously was probably maybe 6 years ago. I'm 32. I'm not particularly like young or old, but for the longest time, you just aren't taught that like it's ignorance essentially, right? Like you're ignorant to the fact like your vote matters on a local like level. So the micro level is much like it goes up, right? It's one of those things where like songs like this weren't out at the time. Like it was just complaining that like the president hadn't done whatever it was that they had promised, but there's no accountability. Like the accountability is completely on them, not like the fact that they might not have a Senate like that sides with them, or like they might not have Congress that sides with them, or like you might not like your governor or like any of your like local like assemblymen. Like it just no one knows. People are just ignorant to the fact because it's just not promoted towards us. It's not promoted towards anybody. Like if you don't do the research yourself or somebody doesn't show it to you, like you don't know. You're just kind of force fed whatever propaganda like the local like party that is in your town is pushing. So I lived in New York for a long time, and it's very liberal there. So it's easy to just like not think about it. It's really easy to just like kind of vote based on like your party and not necessarily look at like a progressive instead of like somebody who's very centrist. Like it's just you aren't educated to make a decision. I don't know. That's just kind of what I took out of it.
Nothing in a forefront for it. You know, there's nothing like, you know, we hear vote so much, but then they like push the president so much in our faces that all we know is vote presidential election, vote presidential. Who is going to actually tell a young 18-year-old boy that's just like, whatever, just on the street, whatever, doing whatever, like who's going to tell him to vote for a Congress member? Like who's going to tell him that? The news is not going to tell him that. He's not even watching the news. He's listening to rappers. You know what I'm saying? Like, so who's going to tell him? And then when rappers do it, it always sound like a endorsement. You know what I mean? Like, so that's why it was necessary. And I think as entertainers and even just everyday citizens, we got to just make more efforts to relate to everyday people.
Wait, Yellow, can you tell us about Stacy Abrams? What's she like?
Stacey Abrams was cool. She was hilarious. She's a nice vibe. She was very informative too. Some of the things that I just didn't even know, like it was like people in her office that were actually responsible for making sure the votes were counted, and it was just like that's something as small as that is. Like that's something that I didn't know because I was looking at people of color who were responsible for that, and people always feel like my vote doesn't count because there's machines or whatever, but it was people of color, and she was informing me on all the different things about just how the government works and all her different initiatives that she had. And man, she was just a very colorful person. You think about people in politics and you automatically think uptight, no sense of humor, dry, but nah, she was super dope.
Yeah, and she bust her ass to get the word.
I love that woman.
Yeah, she's amazing. She saved her ass. It's really, really that simple.
Yeah.
So here's a question: how much is your cousin in your face now? Did she
win? Did your cousin win?
Now that she convinced you to do the video and the video blew up, how many "I told you so's" do you get from her?
Nah, I ain't getting no "I told you so's" from her. Even though she was in, running for Congress, that's a cousin that actually has been active through my career for a long time. Like, my name is YelloPain. It used to be something else that I'm not going to tell y'all because you can look it up on YouTube. But she told me, like, I think you need to change your name. I think this name is, this is years ago, and she has always had ideas or had suggestions that I was like, no, cuz, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna listen to you, and they all worked in my benefit. So, I love her for sure. She's not in my face.
Well, it's good that you switched the name before it blew up, because once it does, you stuck, man. There's some traditionally really bad names that people just stuck with. It's like when people have set up a Xbox name when they're 17 years old, like Buck Liquor or something, and then you can't.
Fact. That's fun.
I have one quick question. So, like,
we good.
Of course. My biggest thing is, like, you're really young, right? Like 26. You voted in one of the last. Like, you had before this election, I'm guessing you had voted in like one of the last 3 elections, right?
Yeah.
Does that line up? Yeah. And then, like, I think it's insane that, like, at this age, your message is not just impacting people who are younger, like, or even like it's just an overall message that people just are so unaware of. Like, what is that like? Like, what's that response been like? Has it been like a mix like of everyone, like age group wise and like just like race wise? Just because I know like it's a very divisive time right now. Like, people are really ageist. People are, I would say, pretty racist in this country.
My parents know who he is.
Yeah.
Because of Nicole Wallace on MSNBC.
That's crazy. Like, so when I made the song, it's crazy because I already, like, I have a pretty diverse fan base prior to my Vote Don't Count, just because of some of the other songs that I made on a lot of different topics that people can relate to. So I knew I had a very diverse fan base, but when I made my Vote Don't Count, I made it specifically for people in my city, Dayton, Ohio, who were disinterested in voting, young black men like me. And I knew that a lot of young people were going to be informed, like, oh wow, I didn't know this, and maybe care. And that was all I wanted to do. I had no idea this song. I actually was scared to put it out, but I had a civic duty to put it out. But I was scared because I was afraid to get pigeonholed just in those type of records, but I put it out anyway. But long story short, when I put it out, it blew my mind, the type of people who listened to it. It were people that were, like she said, like older people that were in their 60s and 70s. Like, I did not know any of this information. People of all ages were telling me that, and I was like, wow, it's really sad, more so than anything, that in our country there's people dictating everything in our lives, and we have no idea about it. So I'm just glad that I was able to reach those people.
I saw Sharon Stone tweeted it out.
Yeah.
Crazy, man.
It's some of the most I guess just you would never think that those people would share the video. Like, It's like, what? Like, even porn stars, everybody.
There you go.
Well, like, sex rights or like sex, like work is like a really big topic right now, and like politicians they decide like how, if like sex workers can like make a living and if it's legal or not. It's crazy. Like, you never think about like every aspect of life is like, in our American lives, I guess, is like completely dictated by like who you elect into office. It's wild. And I think that like I had like a weird awakening at one point where somebody was like, no, you really should do your research and like see who like your local council people are. Just like get informed and get out there and vote.
Yeah. But...
So after the porn star retweeted it, did you go watch our videos? I know you did.
Yeah.
I know you did. So.
No, you just keep laughing and don't say nothing else. It's that.
Let me just check it out.
Who was like the most shocking person like that? Like you just like you lost it when you found out that they like responded to it or like retweeted it. Like, who was like the?
It was probably us. Besides us.
Yeah, besides us.
I would have to say Oprah. That's like. Does it really get that much crazier?
No, it does not.
No, I was gonna say, if Oprah even like looked at me or said hello, I think I'd lose my shit. Like, let alone spread the news of something like a project
the art
that I worked
that you
on.
made.
Yeah, like the actual like like my life's work
That's
so far.
that
You'd be like, this is Franco's cats. Like, here you go, out to the world. But like instead, you made this like really crazy, like incredible piece, and Oprah sent like she retweets it and like talks about it. That's wild.
The most emotional one to me was probably Meek Mill, just because it's like my favorite artist, or my favorite rapper. So you listen to somebody so much, and you think like one day I'm gonna be able to reach and connect with that person, and then to know that one of your songs was able to connect, it's like, that's crazy.
Well, especially someone who's like, what the judicial system has done to him. He really understands your song. It's amazing.
Exactly. That was amazing, for sure.
Now you mentioned not wanting to get pigeonholed, right? So now here's the thing, like, I don't watch that and automatically thought, especially after checking out your other stuff, I didn't automatically think pigeonhole you as a political person, but more as a person who gets a message out and doesn't just like, you don't have to dance. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like you get like every one of your tracks has a message, and you can tell that there's a lot of personal thought put into these lyrics, and a lot of personal feeling that you want to get across. So if the pigeonholing is everyone sees you as an intelligent hip hop artist that really gets a message out to people, then that's a good thing, because that's the impression I get.
But like, I don't see Chuck D as political. I mean, he is, but it's like there's so much more there, and Tom Morello. Like, I feel like there's a lot that you're sharing, a lot of different topics.
Chuck D said no to us, by the way. I tried.
Oh man.
Yeah, I know. That was a bummer. I was like, do we go for flavor? I'm like, I don't know if I want. It's a whole different type of show. You know what I mean? But no, it's Lori has a good point. Like, it's not so much about getting put into a category as much as you want to make sure you're in the right category.
Yeah, I was nervous a little bit. I think it was because my vote don't count. I was getting ready to release like a lot of new music that just wasn't. It was still emotional, like it's all emotional, but it wasn't so directly linked with a social issue or something that someone could, just, I guess, think that I'm trying to be different, if that makes sense, versus feeling authentic. So I was just a little afraid. But like, I believe in God, and I believe in, just going with what your heart says, and we just did it. We putting it out. This is how I feel. Take it or leave it.
I think the one. Oh, sorry.
Go.
I think the one thing I would get out of it too is that the last 4 years felt like everyone was kind of pushing an agenda instead of like seeking to actually educate anybody. And so I think that's one of the biggest things that I took out of it. Is just there's a message to it, but it's all encompassing. It's not like do something this way, otherwise you're doing it wrong, which I think is one of the big divisive things in this country right now. Is everybody thinks that their opinion is correct, and like that's how they go about like trying to get an idea across. It's supposed to just be like, hey, make your choice from here, but like here are all this is like the all-encompassing like like thing that you should be looking at. This is where your vote goes. This is what you do. Like, go from there. And I think that's what sets you apart from all of that. Like, it didn't feel political. It happened to be a political message, but more in like an informative way.
And one of the things I try to do with the song is to make sure that I put none of my opinions in there, like zero opinions. And it was kind of crazy because I actually got so many comments that said, I don't necessarily agree with all of your political views, but I love this. I never told it this whole time from the beginning all the way to now. I've never shared one political view on anything, like nothing. I won't.
You don't have to share a political view, but I think you should re-release the song when Jim Jordan's up for re-election.
Yeah, please.
In your home state.
Yeah, it's a couple of people we want you to go after.
Yeah.
So once this thing blows up, the next thing that you release, do you feel a lot of pressure then? Like, what did you have to decide what it was going to be? Did you know all along what track you wanted to put out next? Did you was there a lot of thought going into that, or did you have something ready to go out next that you would just you were doing it either way?
The thing is, one thing I've realized over the years is that you can't plan success, you can't plan viral. All you can plan is consistency, and you just be consistent. So there was no pressure, and there's still no pressure. I'm just trusting my gut, my emotions, and and I'm doing what I feel like is on my spirit, and I know it's gonna work out.
Mm-hmm. What's next for you? You have something new dropping, right?
Yeah. I got a video dropping this week.
All right. Yeah, this will be out in a couple of days. So
yeah. All right.
So what is it?
When is this gonna be out?
This will be out by the end of the week, by Thursday or Friday. It'll be out.
All right, so will my video. So there we go.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect timing.
I ain't supposed to drop no title, no concept, nothing.
Okay.
Just come out, just be looking for YelloPain. Go to the Instagram, the YouTube, and he said he was about to drop a new video. Yeah, it's out.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You can follow him on Twitter. You can follow. Is it the same thing on Instagram? Just YelloPain.
Yeah, everything is YelloPain. That's it.
If anybody else took YelloPain, we'd go find him for you. We'll handle that.
Yeah. I would have been on him.
Because Lori's dad, he dyed his hair yellow since he's been a fan.
Yeah, for his Parler account.
Yeah.
That's dope though.
You don't have YelloPain on Parler yet, right?
Nope. I'm not familiar with Parler. What is Parler?
It's better you don't know.
It's like, what? It's like everybody.
Everyone who raided the Capitol is now on Parler.
They started their own because you know what? Because they couldn't lie on regular media without getting flagged, so they wanted to go somewhere else. I don't even think
it's still unrestricted, but it's down, right?
Yeah, I think it's down.
I don't know. They got their hosting pulled just because there's some wild stuff on there.
Yeah,
there was some wild stuff on there.
Too much conspiracy stuff, but Yellow doesn't go down that road, man. He's got his own message.
You do your thing, man. And I'm sure, here's the thing too: is I would imagine that a lot of people that were just following friends or family and just listening to what they're saying might have heard your message and been like, you know what, I can think for myself, and that's all you can ask for at the end of the day. Because I definitely did not I did not care at all about voting back in the day. I'm not even from this country. I'm originally from Peru. I moved here, and it kind of felt like you said, it felt kind of like a scam. You vote for a president, and you just expect everything to get done. It's just not how it goes. And so, definitely think that the message is fantastic.
Thank you.
He didn't come here with the mustache, by the way. That was
no, I did. I did. I did not. I was 8, but it's just. Now I lost my train of thought.
Sorry. It couldn't have been that good then. Where were you going?
Probably just rambling.
Well, so YelloPain also has merchandise, which I looked at the site. You got some cool stuff. I'm scrolling on the bottom here, but you can go to YelloPain-clothing.myshopify.com and check it out. He's got a couple of shirts on there. What else you have on there?
Yeah, I got shirts, hoodies, and more different type of merch coming soon. I got these hard hats called the Push Hard hats. And it's actually official YelloPain.com. It's the two links to the same exact location. Oh, okay. But just to make it easier for people, official YelloPain.com. And just check it out. And new merch coming soon too. Appreciate the events.
Oh, absolutely, man. So I'm looking forward to what's coming out. And again, if you're listening to this or watching this now, go to officialyellowpain.com right now and check out what he dropped that he's not telling it. He kind of snuck it to us before we started, but I'm not telling you that. And check it out. Yellow, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. I wish you nothing but the best. It's really refreshing to have somebody with such a positive message and getting the word out there. So we really do appreciate it, and we're honored to have you join us.
I appreciate it, man.
We're hoping the potholes in Dayton get fixed.
That's right.
Me too.
Oh, I have one question because I'm a
fan, so I don't know if they're gonna get fixed.
It's the tire capital of the U.S.
Right.
Go, Franco. What are you gonna say?
Oh, I have one quick question. Dream Chasers 2, Dreams and Nightmares.
Dream Chasers 3.
3?
Yeah.
All right.
You don't like 3?
Number 1 and 2 are my favorite just because I was in I think I was in college when Dream Chasers first came out, and the first thing is when you start listening to Meek Mill's every intro song starts off really mellow and then just goes off, and then that's the whole record. And honestly, I didn't even like Drake before I started listening to Meek Mill's. That was one of the first times that I started really listening to both of those people. So I've hung out in Philly a while, but I've never met Meek or had him retweet anything of mine. But he's definitely up there as far as nobody. I don't think anybody makes a record that gets you as hyped as Meek. Meek just has that energy to him. I don't know, but just figured I'd ask.
Yeah.
So Dream Chasers 3 for you.
Yeah, Dream Chasers 3 for sure. And with Meek, I think it's one of those type of artists where he has hits, but you don't want to hear hits. You just it's you don't expect to hit. You just expect to be moved by whatever is being said. So that's super dope. But yeah, 3, Dream Chasers 3.
All right, now we know.
All right.
Hang on one second, Yellow. Be right back. I'm just going to wrap this up. Thank you again for listening to The Whole. Once again, check out officialyellowpain.com. Check out all of his tracks. I strongly suggest you check out the videos because they're so well done. I'm doubly impressed that you do them yourself too, man. That's crazy. So great. Such great stuff. So go to officialyellowpain.com. Check out the new stuff. And thank you for listening to The Whole. I am Rob Sprance.
I'm Franco Del Valle.
I'm Lori Levine.
Later, motherfuckers.